She marries this guy named Calvert. They move to Cedar Rapids, and she punches out a couple of kids. Now Calvert's dead, and from what I hear, Cedar Rapids is dead.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rock Hard Caucus. I was only Ezra Miller fan podcast.
Indeed. Haven't. I mean, that's not actually true.
No, we're
I don't
not
watch
the only
comic
one.
book movies. Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of Iowa Ezra Miller fans out there.
Yeah.
I actually don't really know anything about them other than a cult and like sex crimes and like kidnapping children and the Flash movie.
I think that's enough things to know
That's the summary.
about a person.
That's the summary of my knowledge.
Yeah. What a mess. Anyway, yeah, this is Rock Hard Caucus episode 114. This is your first time. Welcome. That's something people say on podcasts sometimes. They act like people are just tuning in for the first time. Welcome to the new listeners here 4 years into the show. If you're just catching up, yeah, we do talk about Ezra Miller quite a bit. One of our most talked about subjects.
I think we've actually abandoned the idea of getting new listeners. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't try to attract anyone new to this. I feel like we've got our small, tight knit audience, and that's all we need.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's a niche product.
We've been trying to attach ourselves to various controversies, like the Ezra Miller thing, the Titanic thing. I just did. The Bernie Sanders 2020 presidential campaign. Yeah,
we were Bernie Sanders dick riders. That was our plan for success, and that didn't work out.
No, it didn't. We were going to be on the cabinet. He was going to, because if he would have won Iowa officially, then it would have obviously launched him to the presidency, and then we would have gotten all the credit for it. It didn't work out, though.
Yeah, we had kind of a deal with him. It was like, if you win Iowa, it will be our responsibility, and so there's a quid pro quo exchange.
Yeah,
we had like cabinet positions lined up. It's true. You were going to be Secretary of War.
Yeah, I've read up on Sun Tzu. Think I'm ready to go for that position. Definitely very qualified.
Yeah, I was going to be Secretary of Agriculture. Because I just wanted to keep Vilsack out of there.
I thought you were going to take Brianna Joy Gray's job as the press secretary.
Yeah. Imagine that reality.
I'm imagining it. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Better than the path she's on now.
Right.
You did mention the Titanic thing. I did want to congratulate you for resolving that situation the other night on our Twitch channel.
Yeah, thank you.
Took care of that problem.
Yep. We actually went back in time. We made communism win, and so that those guys never got on the boat. And we're now living in that. Wait, I think I'm getting our timelines mixed up, because we just were talking about the alternate timeline where Bernie won and we became members of his cabinet. I don't know. Maybe there's maybe string theory. Is string theory the one where there's like a bunch of parallel universes that are all interconnected or whatever?
I think so, because they're all strings.
I think we're like switching strings mid podcast, I think. But anyway, those guys are
concept. Sorry, this is a very conceptual podcast. Sometimes it's hard to
my
follow
brain
along.
Is operating at like 50% functionality right now, honestly.
I'm at like at least 125, so
okay.
We're in between those two now. Yeah, you got to have a pretty high IQ to follow along. We got some pretty high concept science fiction going here on Rock Hard Caucus. Twitch.tv/Rock Hard Caucus. That's where Evan took care of the Titanic problem, the recent Titanic troubles. He also took care of Hitler. That was sort of a side goal.
Yeah, we made... Well, we had to prevent World War II from happening. So we made him into a famous painter. Which is, I joke that was definitely enough to satisfy his other pursuits. Like he was totally cool. He just really wanted attention. That's all he really wanted. He just wanted people to pay attention to him.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a preferable path to the other one. So if you can funnel a person into a position where their ambitions, ambitions are satisfied in a non-harmful way, that's the preferable path for that person. Well, there's a lot of people on a certain path right now. We should probably start getting ready for like the primary season. The Iowa State Fair is in a couple months, and there's going to be a bunch of these like ambitious monsters descending on our state, trying to make a path for themselves to the most powerful position on the planet. So I thought we should try to familiarize ourselves a little bit with who those people are before we go to the state fair and interview all of them, because that's the goal, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We got to get some in-person interviews with all these people. Or at least
just yell questions at them while everyone else ignores us.
A one-sided interview, yeah. So do you know how many... let's start with one side. How many Republicans are running? And do you know who they are?
Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Vivek guy Republican? I'm pretty sure he is, isn't he?
Yeah, Vivek.
Or is he a Democrat?
Vivek Ramaswamy? He is running as a Republican, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. He was actually already in Des Moines. I was at the Celebration Festival a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't see him.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would have been yelling questions at him. Like, what do you think you're trying to do here, Buster?
Just shout, who are you?
Why?
Do you know?
Those are the only three I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, so you got
Trump. Mike Pence. Yeah. Mike Pence. Chris Christie.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's more that I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I think you've picked out the top of the pack, and Vivek is another one.
He's at the top.
He seems to me to be kind of like the Andrew Yang of this cycle.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think I was joking about Hillary wanting attention. I just think he wants attention. He's like, I mean, I don't really know that much about him, but I just know that he's like putting himself out there very aggressively. Oh, there's also, I've seen ads. There's that one fucking guy who had the ad in the Super Bowl that was like, it had like AOC in it. He's just some like millionaire Republican who made some really shitty ads. Let me find his name.
Really? I'm not aware of that. I don't think I didn't watch the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, there's also this other motherfucker. I was again watching free Plex TV, and there's like the political ads are starting. So there's a bunch about how like Trump is going to be a bad candidate.
That's the only argument they can have, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like Trump is going to lose worse than we would if we somehow miraculously won the nomination.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably right, but like I don't think they've got a shot at taking him down.
Perry Johnson. Perry Johnson was the guy who had the ad.
Okay.
He spent 6 figures apparently making a Super Bowl ad that basically I think calls AOC fat. And I mean, it's like a joke about like government spending or something.
Oh, sure,
like,
sure.
Yeah. I'm here to cut the fat out of Washington type shit.
Yeah. He ran for governor of Michigan.
It's a 2-cent diet. This is the name of the ad.
2-cent diet. Is that like a tax thing?
Yeah. I guess so. It must be a 2-cent flat tax. He's going with Washington cut. No, I'm sorry. He wants to cut Washington to cut the budget 2% per year every year.
Oh, okay.
That's a little different concept.
Yeah. What's the there's like a name for this concept where like if you cut something in half over and over and over again, you never get to zero.
Asymptote.
Yeah.
That's
like,
the math term for it.
It's like that, but a lot more subdued. Just 2% every year. It's very, very slowly whittling it down.
Yeah. See, that's why you're not going to win the Republican nomination, because you never get to zero, and that's what the Republicans want.
That's the goal.
They don't
yeah.
want the government. Yeah, you get rid of the government completely.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen.
And as you're cutting 2% every year, that 2% is actually a smaller number every time. So you're doing less every year as it goes on, which is absolutely backwards. They want bigger, better. You need to escalate every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't go back from Trump. You have to do something crazier.
All right, so in addition to the few that you've named, Perry Johnson, I think, was at the Joni Ernst Ride and Roast. I saw a picture of him handing out a book. That's how he impressed people at the motorcycle party. Gave them books. And it's remarkable here. I'm looking at the Wikipedia article that just shows like everyone who's officially declared so far. They don't even have a picture for Perry Johnson. The rest of them, there's like a portrait. But Perry Johnson, no photo attached. And he's here with the likes of Francis Suarez. They've got a photo of him. Ever heard of that guy?
Nope.
Francis Suarez. He is the mayor of Miami.
Ah.
He is then one of...
So he's running against DeSantis as the mayor of Miami. That seems like
right.
a little risky proposition there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they've got their home state listed here as well. They've got Trump listed as a Floridian, too. So they've got 3 guys from Florida running, including Francis Suarez, mayor of Miami. But yeah, if the governor of Florida, who is like probably the only one with a chance of competing with Trump, can't keep the mayor of Miami from also joining the race, like, I think Rondi's dead in the water.
Yeah, well, I hear that they're not following any campaign finance laws, so he's raking in lots of money. We'll see how that works out for him.
Why wouldn't you? You know, why would you follow the campaign laws? What's going to happen to you? Nothing. Like, history shows that you won't get punished, so might as well go for broke. Who else is on here? Doug Burgum.
Yes, that's the guy I was thinking of. Doug Burzum. That's his. That's what I like to call him.
Yeah. Oh, wait. He is currently the governor of North Dakota?
Yes.
I never heard of that guy. And we're not that far from North Dakota, so we should be aware, right?
He's got the ad campaigns out on the free TV networks, so
okay, so
he's definitely he's
so
coming
people
up.
Like
if you
Evan
like watching
if
you like watching game shows that haven't been on the air for like 10 years, then you are probably a Doug Burzum voter.
What was that Jerry Springer game show you were watching?
Baggage. It's terrible, but it's very entertaining.
Yes, free TV, home of
Rest in
the
peace to Jerry Springer as well.
Yeah. Man, what was that documentary we did an episode about, kind of?
VUCA,
yeah, God. I've been straying from the VUCA path, obviously.
Yeah. It's easy to forget about VUCA when you're living in it.
Larry Elder, he's running for president now. He's the guy who tried to beat Newsom in California. He tried to become governor. And that failed pretty bad, so why not aim higher?
Oh, Tim Scott, right?
Tim Scott is also running, yep.
Yes.
Yep, senator from South Carolina. Man, I watched an ad of his, and I don't remember a moment of it.
Yeah. There was some, like, really ridiculous stuff coming out about him. But basically, it was like something where, like, his advisor, like, walked into the room and was like, oh, geez, I don't know about that.
It's something about him not having sex.
Oh, yeah, and then he, like, got up to go to the bathroom, and he's like, I gotta use the...
I have to go potty, yeah.
I have to go potty.
Yeah. They talked about that on Chapo, so I don't want to spend too much time on it here.
Okay.
But his campaign logo is just his name, and it says Faith in America.
I mean, I feel like 95% of these people are just trying to win favors for whoever does actually win, whether it's DeSantis or Trump. I mean, like, do you think Chris Christie is really running a serious campaign? He was like, trying to get a job in any Republican administration for like his entire career.
Yeah, but I do wonder what his motivation is this time, because like he worked for Trump and it like didn't go that well.
Well, his motivation is that DeSantis wins, and then he gets to be on DeSantis's administration. But then he's probably helping Trump by getting in the race to begin with. I don't know. These guys need to read up on like game theory, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Christie's his only strength really is owning short Floridians in debates. So he can only harm DeSantis.
Well, I've heard, I think I don't know where I picked up that idea, but like, I think people were speculating that he was going to just go in to just attack Trump, like, because DeSantis can't really do that. And so he would be basically like an attack dog for DeSantis.
I think that is
kind of makes sense, but I don't know if that's, it seems crazy, but
that is sort of how he was selling himself when he announced, saying like he doesn't tiptoe.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't think any of these people can touch Trump when it comes to that.
No.
How about Nikki Haley?
Oh, right.
She's running.
She is running.
She's sort of the last thing I knew about her, she was trying to play like a middle of the road in terms of the like woke versus anti-woke thing.
Yeah, she's like focusing on like foreign policy stuff. I mean, which is like, I guess a lot of what Tim Burzum's ad, a lot of it was about like, gotta stop China. So yeah, I think she's like trying to be like, I'm sensible. Both Biden and Trump or DeSantis are going to have bad foreign policy, and I'm going to be, I mean, she was the ambassador to the United Nations under Trump. Yeah. So yeah. I guess that's her best
respected on the international stage. So she'll be the best for American foreign policy, which makes her a demon on earth. All right. And there's two more Republicans here on this list. Will Hurd.
Will Hurd.
Any idea?
That is complete blank.
Will Turd. He was in Congress. He's from Texas. U.S. representative from Texas's 23rd district from 2015 to 2021. So not even a current member of Congress. And he's been running for 4 days. He filed on the 22nd. So Will Hurd, everybody, making a splash.
Heard that.
And the last one is Asa Hutchinson. Asa Hutchinson?
Name is familiar, but I do not know anything about them.
He was the governor of Arkansas until this year.
Until Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yeah.
Started girl bossing it up.
Yeah, it's a big old cavalcade. What an exciting primary field they have.
Well, it worked for Bill Clinton, so I think he might have a shot.
Yeah. Governor of Arkansas is a great launching pad for a presidential campaign. We know that, of course. Asa Hutchinson was also the administrator of the DEA from 2001 to 2003. And Undersecretary of Homeland Security 03 to 05. So this guy had a big role to play in the George W. Bush administration. So a strong history. People want what he has to sell, definitely.
Oh, yeah. They love a mid-level bureaucrat. I mean, especially Republican voters. I mean, I guess Democrats actually probably do like a mid-level bureaucrat. But, yeah, Republicans, not so much.
Yeah. Asa Hutchinson, we're hoping for the best for you. What about Democrats? People are trying to primary our president, Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah. Got RFK Jr., which he's really catching on, I'm telling you. Play the Ron Paul clip.
He's catching on, I'm telling you.
I think about that Ron Paul clip all the time. That's an old one. But yeah, it seems like a lot of people are taking him way more seriously than they have any right to.
Yeah.
Like I saw, remember Peter Dow?
Yeah.
He was like a Hillary Clinton. First he's a DJ. Then he's like a Hillary Clinton. Player. He's a piano player. Yeah. That's the same thing. And he was like super Hillary Clinton supporter, and then ended up like changing his mind because he's a poster. He would just like post like a million fucking times in a row about how mean everyone was being to Hillary, and then finally people like bullied him enough or like responded to him enough that he's like, I'm a Bernie guy now, and now he's pushing RFK.
He pivoted in 2020 to being like a more progressive Democrat kind of guy. And you may not know this part of the story. He was working for Marianne Williamson's campaign until maybe a month ago. And now he's like boosting RFK Jr. a whole bunch.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did know Marianne Williamson was also running.
Yes. Seems to have kind of fizzled out. I don't know. People don't seem to be talking about it as much.
Well, it seems like RFK would be like, because like his thing is like he's anti-vax. Which I don't even like. I know that she had like someone anti-vax on her
weird,
program, and is like definitely like platforms with people. I don't know.
And she's got weird like new agey kind of stuff in her past.
But she also doesn't. Her last name also isn't Kennedy, and like you can't like. She's not someone that you can like imagine being president, which is definitely a big factor. But if I had to choose between the two of them, I'm going Marianne Williamson 100 times out of 100.
No question. Yeah. RFK Jr., like I saw he was running for president a while ago, and I was like, oh man, that means his wife, Cheryl Hines, might be at the Iowa State Fair. Because I thought he was running as a Republican. Because of like his like what he's been doing the past few years, which has been like anti-vax campaigning.
Yeah. And also Dennis Kucinich is his campaign manager.
Yeah,
right now.
I just saw that like right before we got on here.
There is a thing going around about him getting asked about the vaccine things, and he's like, "Oh, these people in the media are misrepresenting his stance on vaccines. He just doesn't like rushed vaccines or something." So they're like, "What vaccines does he support?" And then he was like stammering and wouldn't answer. So,
yeah, and people want him to debate doctors or some shit about vaccine effectiveness and vaccine injuries.
Yeah, well. Which doctors is my question. I'm sure you can find plenty of doctors who are of the same persuasion as RFK.
Yeah. As you said, though, his last name is Kennedy.
Right.
It's reminding me like this is like a Carter situation in some ways.
It is.
Like,
except Ted actually had a lot of support from the party.
I don't think Biden is as unpopular. Well, in terms of numbers, he is probably actually more unpopular than Jimmy Carter was at the time. But it's like an unpopular Democratic incumbent, and there's like a young, RFK Jr. is 69 years old to Biden's 80, but a younger Kennedy is trying to like usurp him, and you've got a very popular Republican on the other side. So a Kennedy primary may be fucking things up for a Democratic incumbent again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Chappaquiddick never happened, I don't think like Ted Kennedy would have been president before Carter. Like, I think that's pretty much factual.
I don't want to give the idea that RFK Jr. is anywhere close to Ted Kennedy in terms of like political potential, but there's just some parallels.
Yeah.
And then there are some third-party candidates gaining steam. For example, Afro Man is running for president.
Is he really?
I don't want people to forget that. Afro Man is running for president.
He's still just trying to get his stuff back from the police. Like, that's his entire... I mean, I would vote for him on that, based on that being his entire campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that? Like, well, I guess he lives in California. I don't remember where that whole situation happened.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, Afro Man's home was raided by police on very flimsy pretexts, right?
Yeah,
I don't think he was charged with anything.
It's like kidnapping or something, and like possession of drugs and all that.
Yeah. So he's been releasing a bunch of songs just like clowning on the police that raided his house. Because he has good security footage of them like stealing his cookies or something.
his lemon pound cake, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Ain't found no kidnapping victims, just some lemon pound cake.
A good basis for a presidential campaign, though. But in more recent and more impactful news, Cornel West is seeking the Green Party nomination.
Yeah, I like Cornel.
Yeah, in general, he's
kind of like,
he's the most respectable of all these people. He's not 100% clean. People were digging up this tweet of his like praising Reagan from like 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a tendency to want to, I wouldn't even say compromise, but he's someone who like sees the humanity in all people, and like I kind of like it. I mean, he also is very heavy on Christian, the importance of Christian religion to his upbringing and his moral viewpoint, which, I don't think it's necessarily anything wrong with that, but I can see it definitely turning off a lot of people, especially a lot of people who probably listen to this podcast. But we like Cornel. He's a strong voice, and I can't really, I don't know. I don't know like anything about him that I would be like not wanting to support him for. Yeah,
I mean, he's not going to be president, but
right. And he was also in Matrix. He was in the Matrix sequel. So,
yeah, maybe he could be president now that you bring that up.
I mean, they should run Keanu. I feel like Keanu could win. Draft Keanu.
He's had this career like rehabilitation. People love John Wick.
They love him as a person too, because he's unobjectionable.
Yeah, everyone thinks he's nice and stuff.
Everyone I think that's kind of honestly where politics is going. It's too early for predictions, but it seems like we're heading more towards the banal. Like after the Trump era, we're kind of heading more towards the banal part of evil.
But yeah, just give us celebrities who have a reputation for being nice.
Yeah, The Rock. I mean, he was talking about it for a while.
Yeah, but then Black Adam didn't do as well as they'd hoped.
Yeah,
so
Black Adam. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, we started out talking about Ezra Miller. Now we're
comic book movies. Yeah,
this is a DC movie podcast. I did see Black Adam.
Was it good?
Pretty forgettable.
I don't think I think literally I could count on one hand. Well, I mean, I've seen like since the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, I think I've seen less than 5 total comic book movies, and I've seen literally none of the new DC. That's not right. I saw Suicide Squad because I had to see Jared Leto.
Oh, that one.
Sucked,
okay.
Though.
Yeah, it's really bad
sucked.
movie. Really bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the checklist for us for the Iowa State Fair. We got to try to catch all of these guys. And I mean, I'm wondering if the Democratic candidates are going to come to the fair, because it seems like the state party is going to go ahead with the caucus, even if it doesn't count nationally. So then will the candidates bother? But I mean, they're kind of like vanity campaigns anyway, so why wouldn't they do it? I don't know.
I feel like, I feel like at least some of them will. Because, that's like an angle for publicity that they can use. And they can be, especially like, I don't feel like any of those candidates would really have any qualms attacking the DNC, considering they're already running against Biden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could make an angle like, the DNC doesn't care about Iowans, blah, blah, blah. The Iowa Democratic Party doesn't apparently care about Iowans either, because they're willing to discount our votes very heavily, apparently.
To just
for what?
For
what reason exactly?
Nothing. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's insane.
This could be the best caucus experience ever, because it'll be like just as petty and just as like just as gross of a competition with zero stakes. It'll be so much more interesting.
I'm going. Yeah, I think that we gotta. If they do, I mean, we gotta go again. And I'm thinking it might be fun to try to get on as a precinct chair or a caucus chair for one of these other candidates, because then at least you get to give a speech. Unless they might be taking the speeches out too. Like I don't really know what the proposals are, but if they were still giving speeches, that might be a fun little opportunity to
I mean, if you take the speech away, like, what's the point of this whole thing? Like, yeah, you've got to have an opportunity for like some ambitious local dipshit to like, you know, make a name for themselves in their neighborhood.
Yeah. For sure.
But, that means that Cheryl Hines possibly attending the Iowa State Fair. I will keep everyone abreast of that possibility going forward if you are interested in talking to Cheryl Hines at the Iowa State Fair. That's what I'm hoping for.
If they brought the whole cast of Curb Your Enthusiasm to the Iowa State Fair to support RFK, that could do some numbers.
That's what the next season of Curb is going to be about.
She hasn't actually been on Curb for like forever.
No, she
right?
has. She has. Like they're
really?
their characters are divorced on the show, but like she's still around because she is with Ted Danson in the show now.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I haven't caught up with like recent seasons.
Yeah, so there's like a rivalry between Larry and Ted Danson. I thought that another thing we could talk about today, we could talk about some updates with the Andrew Wold Davenport situation, since that was the subject of our previous free episode. And I don't think this should slip out of the news entirely. So in the last couple weeks, there have been a few developments in that situation. Andrew Wold was the owner of the building in the Davenport that collapsed. He's also the owner of several other dilapidated buildings in the area. So first off, on June 13th, I've got this story from WQAD. That's the ABC affiliate in the Quad Cities. They had a story here about a class action lawsuit from 4th Street Nutrition, which was a business that was on the ground floor of the Davenport, and several of the residents. So basically, like, most of this is just about lawsuits piling up against Andrew Wold. Like, everyone is coming after him. A few days after that, I've got a QC Times article about other Wold-owned properties being evacuated. So now that they had a big like scandal with the whole building collapsing, the city is like taking this shit seriously. And there was a building, two buildings actually, on Christie Street and 11th Street in Davenport were declared unsafe or unfit for human occupancy.
Were those both owned by Wold?
Yes. So these are just other of his buildings that are like being looked at a little more closely by city inspectors. I'll just read a little bit from this. The buildings share an owner with the downtown Davenport building that partially collapsed, including a one-story blue building that housed Candle and Soap Store 99 Proof, and was previously the location of restaurant Bayside Bistro, which abruptly closed in June 2022. And that's a really interesting part of that story, is this restaurant that was there last year. Bayside Bistro owners Letitia and Daryl Howlett sued Wold in May 2022 in an ongoing case. So this is something that like had been going on for a year prior to the building collapsing, but is like just now making the news. Alleging Wold broke their lease agreement by failing to provide trash services and forcing them to pay utilities for more than just their leased property. So he's like billing them for utilities at like other buildings.
Wow.
Seems to be just like incompetent billing on his part. I don't know.
And yeah, he really doesn't like collecting trash, apparently, because I know that was an issue.
That was a big problem with the Davenport too.
The original,
basement was full of garbage. The Howletts opened Bayside Bistro in 2018 under the previous building owners, Creel Properties, and they sold the property to Wold in 2020, which I think is the same year that he acquired the Davenport. So he was like buying up all this property and then just letting it deteriorate. The floor in the center of their dining room bulged upward, she said, and Wold asked the Howletts to pay for the repairs. That's not really how that's supposed to work. I think if you own the building, you're supposed to pay for the repairs, typically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Believe so.
Oh, here we go. Then she said the couple discovered they were paying for the utilities for not just their building, but also the 2-story building next door.
How does that happen? That's so ridiculous.
They hired electricians and plumbers and HVAC professionals to assess their building, and they determined that they were paying more than their fair share. The Howletts stopped paying rent in May because no other methods were working to get Wold's attention to make fixes. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Rent strike. And that's May of 2022. And I guess he showed up in mid-June with some electrical workers to assess the breakers, and they had an altercation, and they abruptly decided to close the restaurant. And they now have a location in Rock Island that's still going strong. So
good on them. Dodged a bullet. But I mean, like, those are like, again, like the only people, like the only tenants he had who like could possibly like have any sort of power or leverage over him.
Right. They had a successful restaurant. I assume from the way this is written that the place was running just fine aside from the property issues. So they were able to, pick up and move. There's another lawsuit from a resident of the Davenport named Brock Nelson. Yeah, he's suing everybody. Andrew Wold, Davenport Hotel LLC, Andrew Wold Investments LLC, Village Property Management LLC, Select Structural Engineering LLC. A lot of LLCs involved.
Yeah. A lot of limiting of liability going on here.
Yeah, juggling that liability. By State Masonry, the City of Davenport, Waukee Investments LLC, and Park Wild Properties LLC. It's a lot of people involved in this mess. They've got this is a different news source. This is from KWQC. That's the NBC affiliate in the Quad Cities. They've got a 44-page document attached to the story. So, again, a pretty thorough legal document here. And it's pretty similar to that other legal document that we talked about last time, but the lawsuit says Waukee Investments values profits over the safety of tenants, which I think is apparent from the facts.
Seems so.
The news story there was from the 22nd, so I'm getting the latest updates here. And on the same day, there was also news that Brandon Colvin's estate is filing a wrongful death suit against Wold and everybody. Brandon Colvin was, one of the men who was found dead in the building.
Yeah, good for them. I think they have a pretty strong case, I'd imagine. We don't have much to speculate on, but, I mean, come on. It's ridiculous negligence.
Yeah, and we weren't totally sure about his family situation. We knew he had at least two sons, because one of them had just graduated high school, like, while this whole thing was ongoing. But this article specifies he was the father of 5 children between the ages of 9 and 21. So that's 5 people whose dad died in a completely preventable tragedy. And yeah, it just kind of recaps everything that happened, so I don't really need to go through the details there. But it's just another in the increasing pile of lawsuits against Andrew Wold. And the most recent update I have is from the 23rd, and this is not a lawsuit, but one of the contractors that Andrew Wold hired to work on the building, By State Masonry, who's also being sued by pretty much everyone else. They filed a lien against the building. They say that Andrew owes them $100,000 for the work that they did on the building that collapsed following the work that they did.
I don't know about the standing on that. We're basically speculating on lawsuits that we don't have access to, but that one seems a little sketchy.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm sure he owes them money, but it's like, I mean, obviously the work did not stand up to
anything. Like,
yeah, they're seeking specifically $99,950 from Andrew Wold for exterior west wall masonry reconstruction work between February 15th and May 10th. And yeah, I mean, they did some work, but it didn't last very long, right? I mean, it's not entirely their fault, because I believe By State is the people he fired because they wanted to, do more safety, like, structures.
Oh, is that true? I thought that was the guy who complained and tried to get them to stop working on it, because they were the ones who put up those terrible like 2x4s to like prop up the wall that like obviously like didn't do anything.
Yeah, I forget, like, there was some company from before that he fired, but it does say in here that they were working on the building 4 days before the collapse, so...
Yeah. Like, the select structural engineers people, like, put, like, this plan together for how to actually, like, stabilize the building, and then this other company came in and basically, like, didn't follow any of the
We can
plans.
skip that. That's expensive. Yeah. Here, this is the work they say they did that they're owed money for. Erect scaffolding on the inside and outside of the building around the work area. Wall shoring to support existing wall area above reconstruction area.
Right, there you go.
That might be the boards that were sort of just leaning against the building. Demolishing a vertical section brick wall 12 feet wide by 15 feet high. That might have contributed to the collapse.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was like gonna fucking collapse anyway. Like it was horrible.
Yeah.
Like the pictures from even like you know a couple years before were so bad that it's just like it's insane.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the future of that money there, because like I don't know. Do they still have evidence that they did the work? Because the whole building is gone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how are you? That's right. How are you going to prove that they completed the work? Yeah, it's. I don't know about that, but I mean, maybe it's just everybody's suing Andrew Wold, and sounds like his lawyer's going to be doing pretty well for themselves. Yeah. Now's the time. His lawyer, the son of the mayor of Burlington,
is a business agent or something.
Yeah, registered agent.
Yeah. I forget exactly the connection, but yeah. So that's all I know currently. I don't think there's been any update from the city after the $300 fine. There was a trial he tried to get out of or something.
Oh yeah, the thing where he was like, the judge in the city, or like his lawyer in the city were like, "Oh, we already have an agreement," and then just like, just throw it away. And they're like, actually, you have to plead guilty or not guilty. Like, that's just so much open corruption.
Yeah. Here, I pulled up the KCRG article about that, so we can give some specifics there. Wold was scheduled to appear in Scott County District Court on an enforcement action filed by the city that aimed to keep Wold from transferring the building to other ownership and avoid demolition costs and other fees. In a bizarre scene in court, Wold's attorney, Jack O'Brien, called the judge instead of appearing in person. He said the city and Wold had come to an arrangement before the court hearing in which Wold would plead no contest, which is not an option in this kind of case. You can't say no contest. You either had to plead guilty or not guilty. And this was Judge Catherine Z. Carty. And she said basically that, like, you have to plead guilty or not guilty. And she also said if he doesn't appear in court, she'll issue a warrant. So this is somebody involved in this, like, actually trying to hold him accountable in some way, finally.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I heard that $300 fine was like to prevent him from selling the property or from... I have no idea what is going to go from here, where it's going to go from here, but
yeah,
the city definitely has blood on its hands as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So the lawsuits pile up, and good luck to everyone who is suing Andrew Wold. He did plead guilty, by the way, after he was told he could not plead
One
no
would
contest. Hope. Yeah, he's not delusional in that way, at least. So there was one other Iowa story I thought we could discuss briefly. Do you ever get your weather information from KCCI?
I do.
Oh, okay.
They're like one of... I actually do. I usually go to the weather service first, but if I need like a radar, for some reason KCCI is like one of the only ones where I can easily get to their radar. I do not watch their newscasts, so I do not watch any local newscasts.
Okay. So did
so
you know
I'm not familiar.
Meteorologist here?
I did not know their meteorologist.
Okay. Yeah, Chris Gloninger. I didn't look up a video or anything to hear his name, but Chris Gloninger, he recently resigned as the meteorologist at KCCI because he was receiving death threats, which seems like unusual, right? Do people send death threats to the weatherman a lot?
Not that I'm aware of. I think from what I understood that he received a death threat a while ago.
Yeah.
And that he had been
summer.
seeking treatment for PTSD as a result of that death threat. And that was one of the factors that led to him quitting. But no, very, very strange to get a death threat as a meteorologist. I don't think we've even gotten any death threats on this podcast doing much more controversial things than just, telling people about the weather.
I can remember this was not necessarily a threat, but we did get an Instagram message once that said we deserve to be killed.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a fine line. That's up for the moderators to determine if that's a bannable offense or not.
Yeah, but this was a big enough story that it actually got national attention. This is a New York Times article by Orlando Mayorquin about the KCCI meteorologist. The chief meteorologist of a television news station in Iowa said this week that he was leaving his job to start a career in science, citing in large part the post-traumatic stress disorder that he said he had suffered after he was threatened last year over his on-air coverage of climate change. So I haven't watched any clips of the way this guy was talking about climate change, but I can't imagine the weatherman on KCCI was saying anything particularly aggressive about the urgency of climate change. He was
I would like to know what he actually said that got this guy so mad, because I can't imagine that it was like some stirring call to action or anything. Probably just literally just an acknowledgement that it's a thing.
Yeah, there's
contributing to extreme weather patterns.
He's maybe pointing out some trends in his weather reports and saying, hey, you could attribute the increase in weather like this to the warming climate, huh? Think about that, KCCI viewers.
There is a Iowa Capital Dispatch article that talks about the man who sent him the harassing messages.
Yeah,
and he was actually
Hancock.
Danny Hancock. It's fined $150. You are worthless Biden puppet, a liar, a conspiracy theorist, an idiot. You give Iowa a bad name. Go home, B. That's got hyphens after it. I assume he said bitch?
Bitch? Yeah, go home, bitch.
Go home, bitch. I guess.
Yeah, where is he even from?
Lennox.
That's where Danny Hancock is from.
Right. Yeah.
Lennox is I looked it up. It's really far southwest of Des Moines. It's a small town.
That makes
1,200 people, I think.
Further south and the further west you go in this state, the more likely you are to get death threats for talking about climate change.
Yeah. And Chris Gloninger did tweet images of the emails that he was receiving from, what was it, Danny Hancock? Yeah, Danny Hancock of Lennox, Iowa. And I did want to read those. He tweeted these last summer, right after he received them. I don't watch your worthless weather forecast because you're an idiot, but someone else texted me and said you are still an idiot. Go the hell back where you came from. And then he sort of poorly censored this for us on Twitter just so we didn't get offended. So it's like a black highlighter over the word, but you can still see the word through it. And it's douchebag in all caps. Go the hell back where you came from, douchebag.
So Iowa Capital Dispatch did not feel the need to censor douchebag. They did feel the need to censor bitch.
Mm-hmm.
What's your address? We conservative Iowans would like to give you an Iowan welcome you'll never forget. Kind of like the left gave Judge Kavanaugh. I assume that's left.
It's actually libtards.
Oh! Okay.
I got the email in front of me.
So, like, oh, okay, thank you. So that one was the one they censored. They censored libtard. They censored bitch, but not douchebag.
Yeah. Weird standards they've been establishing there.
Yeah, like, why would I think he said libtard based on that? You have to give me, like, an outline of the word.
Yeah. And then another one is science like Fauci, you dumb son of bitch. Go east and drown from the ice cap melting. Dumb fuck.
Fuck? Okay, good.
Science like Fauci.
I was going to throw another twist in there.
And Fauci's in all caps. You dumb son of bitch.
Yeah. I mean, those are pretty heated messages. Glad he got fined for it. I don't know. It doesn't seem that much different than like most things that you read on Facebook that someone from Lennox, Iowa, age 63 would say.
KCCI should like open up some of their Facebook posts and just check out the comments.
Yeah, for real. I'm sure there's like death threats on most things that they post.
Yeah. Getting sick and tired of your liberal conspiracy theory on the weather. Climate changes every day. Always has, always will. You're pushing nothing but a Biden hoax. Go back to where you came from. They're really Danny Hancock is really fixated on the idea that Chris Gloninger is from somewhere else.
Yeah. Where is he from?
I didn't actually see that.
Because, I mean, a lot of times, like, news anchors and stuff like that are definitely not from the places
they travel all over. Yeah. And he only started working
like
for
the minor
KCCI in 2021. So he'd been a meteorologist for I think 18 years. It says 18 years.
And the thing is, I think his statement basically was like, I want to spend more time with my family. Like the death threat really was like the PTSD thing. It was part of it, and it was like not even the first thing that he mentioned. But of course, that's like what gets all the coverage, and it is. I mean, it is a little different when it's like on Facebook versus like someone like finding your personal email address and sending multiple unsolicited messages.
It's just so crazy to me to like the weatherman. Like that's who you're really, really mad at enough to email death threats to.
Yeah, a guy who has like zero influence over anything. Like he can tell you about it, but like
most people don't even hold like meteorologists in that high of regard. Like there's a lot of jokes about them. Like it's the only job where you can be wrong most of the time.
It's hard, man. We need to have Alan back on. We should have had him on this episode. So he knows a lot about weather. Yeah,
tell us about how he has his own radar set up.
I believe he has access to the National Weather Service radars using a certain piece of software. Anyway, I found it useful for when I'm curious about whether a sporting event will be rain delayed or not. I guess ask Alan. Yeah.
Oh, it says here that he was a meteorologist in 5 different states. So he's a rootless cosmopolitan, which is probably why Danny Hancock was so upset.
He better not be from the coasts. Either one of them. Oh, he began his career in Albany, New York.
Okay.
I found his LinkedIn.
Okay.
Well, I guess it doesn't say that's where he's from, but he started his career in actually Rochester, New York.
Go the hell back to Rochester, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, the most liberal area in all of New York.
So he's moving on to like a more scientific job, less TV reporting. He's accepted a job as a senior scientist with the Woods Hole Group in Massachusetts. Woods Hole Group.
We wish him the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a crazy thing to do to threaten the weatherman multiple times. So hopefully in a less public facing job, you'll receive less emails that tell you are a douchebag in all caps.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to receive less of that. I would imagine. Though also, like, if you don't want to get death threats, going public about how you receive death threats is unfortunately maybe not the right move. Because, like, those people who do that kind of shit seize on any sort of weakness. And, like, if they know they bothered you, they're going to keep going. $150 fine does not seem very much either.
That's not enough of a deterrent. Yeah, we need to protect our weathermen better than that.
Right.
I'm just pulling up his most recent tweet to see if he's got any responses that... Does he hide any replies? No, that's a good sign. This is almost like unreadable because probably because this is in the New York Times, so there's a lot of supportive comments.
Oh, right.
I'm just going to do a quick search for douchebag at Chris Gloninger. No results. Okay, so no one's calling him a douchebag on Twitter. No, so he's in a better position now, I think. Well, maybe we should wrap things up. Let me tell the people we have a phone number. I don't have any voicemails to play for you right now, but if you would like to call, maybe call us douchebags and tell us to go back to where we came from.
We can take it.
Yeah, we're not going to quit our jobs. The number is 319-849.
I mean, it sounds like he made a major upgrade in every way. Like, yeah, I'm sure he'll be much happier. I can't imagine actually wanting to be on TV in the first place, though. Like, I would, I'm not cut out for that kind of work. So I would prefer to work for some like science industry firm.
Yeah. I don't know if we mentioned this, but it also says in one of these articles that like his family, like they stayed like in a hotel when the death threats were coming in. Like they left their house. Like it sort of uprooted their lives for a little bit. So it's going to be better for everybody. But anyway, if you want to uproot our lives, send us death threats, make us stay in a hotel for a while, you can call 319-849-8733. Make us fear for our lives if you want. But also,
I think I've said I'm never leaving Iowa. I think that's I've said that on the podcast before. I'm not leaving. To claw me away from this beautiful state.
But also, the past few episodes, I mentioned that we have a P.O. box in Coralville now, so you can send physical mail too, which can be even more threatening if that's the angle you're going for. But for the first time, we actually did receive some mail here, and I think I'm going to release a video segment here so people can see this mail because it's very visually striking. I don't know which of these came first, but both of them were sent to P.O. Box 5336 in Coralville, Iowa, zip code 52241. The first here is a piece of cardboard. It's got the address of the P.O. Box there. There's like a label maker.
They printed off a label.
Yeah.
It's one of those like old school label makers.
For just part of it, just the P.O. Box number. The rest of it's in a Sharpie. But then the back, it's labeled as Bucky mail. So this is from someone named Bucky. Bucky has called in before. And
see, if this came from anyone else, it would be very threatening. Because it looks like something like a ransom note or like it looks a little disturbing, but since it's Bucky, we know he's harmless.
Yeah, Bucky is like a friend. I think a friend of Mavis Nipper online. He at least talks about her like they're friends. But he wrote here on this piece of cardboard, "Hello, Rockhard Caucus. Sorry for the stationery, but it was all Bucky had. There are too many naked men in the community. Bucky does not like naked men because they make a mess on the couch. Making a mess on the couch is not okay. Prayers to the Nipper family. Find Chandis. Rob Sand owes Bucky a lot of money. Tell him to pay. Thank you. This was Bucky speaking." P.S. Just for the record, Bucky has some classified documents that he wants to share regarding the Iran-Contra operation he was a part of. If you pay for Bucky's lawyer and legal expenses regarding this, Bucky will share the information on your show. Yeah, I think Bucky was a veteran of some kind, so I guess he's claiming he was involved in the Iran-Contra scandal. And here's the second piece of mail. This is like a folded up piece of paper. Also, a label maker was employed here. Again, this is Bucky mail. And it says cut the tape. So it's taped together. So let me just cut the tape as instructed. And I'll unfold it here. Now, if you thought the last one looked like a ransom letter.
Oh my goodness. Do you check for any white powder?
Well, I didn't notice any. So there may be particles that are too small for my eyes to see. But I'll just read this for people. Hello, this is Bucky Stockwell speaking. Please use your radio show to spread awareness about the rampant nakedness in our community. There are too many naked men in the community. This is what he talked about last time on the cardboard. The community does not want them here. They are not welcome here. Children out walking with their grandparents should not be subjected to seeing a naked person flashing their spaghetti house parts in the wind. Thank you. Like a boner in the moonlight. Also respect. Yeah.
Miss Mavis and the Nipper family. Well, we do.
Yeah, they have. I'd say I respect them, kind of, right? I don't disrespect them.
I respect them for putting their selves out there like that. You know, just telling us all about their family life and just being willing to share the love that they have for each other with the rest of us.
Yeah. I respect their honesty. Bucky, thank you for sending in this mail. I am interested in knowing more about your involvement in Iran-Contra. I don't know. It depends on, I guess, how much your lawyer and legal expenses will cost, but we can talk numbers, I guess, if you want to share some of that information with us here on our radio program. As it regards the naked men in the community, there's not a lot I can do about that. I do think the more you cover up in public, the better. That's my philosophy anyway. I try to show as little skin as possible, and I try to lead by example, you know?
Yeah, if they could specify where exactly they're seeing these naked men, that would be helpful. It says the community, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of curious. I'd like to know where the naked men are at.
Yeah, Bucky, I don't actually know where you live. As far as I know, you live on Twitter, so there are naked men on there.
There are naked men on Twitter.
Yeah. Again, that's P.O. Box 5336, Coralville, Iowa 52241. If you have any scraps of cardboard lying around your apartment, feel free to write a weird note on them and send it in. I suppose I should let people know that if they like our podcast, they can get more of it at patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. There's a tier where you can spend $1 per month and you get all of the audio, and a $5 tier where you get video of some stuff. Recent episodes have involved this book here, Ambitions, a novel by Joseph Dobrian. It's a book about a teenage girl who's friends with an old man. So if you want to hear our thoughts on that, check it out at our Patreon. We did get a YouTube comment from someone who did not appreciate our criticism of this book. So hopefully we'll be inspiring more old men to get angry at us.
There were no threats in the comment, though. They were just calling us overeducated and nothing, which is pretty accurate.
Yeah. There's also a much less inflammatory review of a Sonic the Hedgehog comic book coming out this Friday on the Patreon.
That'd be good if we got hate comments on that. Someone who's like defending Sonic the Hedgehog's comic book legacy.
Yeah, Ken Penders fans.
Ken Penders.
Yeah, and there are 7-day free trials that you can get to if you want some free stuff. Patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. Okay, so I wanted to plug a show that I'm playing in Des Moines on Tuesday night, probably either the same day you're listening to this podcast or sometime before you listen to it. It's the 27th, this Tuesday. I'm playing a show at The Lift. I'll be sitting in with an experimental no-wave guitar and drums duo from Chicago called Pet Peeves, and a local wizard core duo called Radagast is also playing. I'm not familiar with them, but they call themselves Wizard Core, so I'm sure that some people are going to want to hear that, right?
Sure.
Wizards are cool.
Wizards don't even actually need to play instruments.
Yeah, it's probably they just wiggle their fingers and the sound comes out.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
So we'll be playing at the Lift in Des Moines the night of the 27th. I believe the show starts at 7, but just show up at the Lift at like 4:30 and stay all night. And to close this out, I'm going to play a little bit of music from Pet Peeves, so you'll be familiar with them. And just imagine a saxophone playing on top of it. And that's what you're going to get at the Lift. Evan, could you pick a number between 1 and 6 for me?
5.
All right, so this is track 5 from the Pet Peeves album, Summer Solstice MMXX. MMXX is Roman numerals for 2020.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is track 5, and the name of the track is V, and that's Roman numerals for 5.
Okay, nice.
So that's what's going to play now. Thanks everyone for listening to Rock Hard Caucus. We'll be back soon. Hopefully it's not just me and Evan.
Yeah.
Because we've got friends who are fun to talk to too, but they're busy with their babies and shit.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I always, whenever we do like just a solo episode, like, well, not solo, but dual episode like this, like it's the episode that no one asked for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get some of our other friends back on here soon.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.